for the school report. Today we welcome Lynn Halverson to the studio, the superintendent of the Blair-Taylor School District, brought to you by Poppy Bus Service. The school report starts right now.
That's right, everybody. It is time for your school report, and this morning I am joined by Lynn Halverson. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. I'm doing great.
Good. So, homecoming was last week, huh?
Yeah, homecoming was last week at Blair-Taylor. I believe it was in Whitehall as well.
Yep.
I think it might have been Independence the week prior.
Yeah, it might have been, yeah.
But obviously, it's a good time to bring the community together. There's always higher attendance at the sporting events. Yeah. Last week there was hall decorating one day. Obviously, the games throughout the week as well. They had volleyball, they had powder puff football.
Yep.
So kids get really involved in it. They have a lot of fun with it. It's fun for the community to watch the kids have fun with it. Mm-hmm. Last week during that homecoming week, the volleyball team, they had a big game against Osseo Fairchild. They won in 3. Football, they hosted Independence and had a really good game.
Okay.
But one of the neatest parts about homecoming week last week is something new at Blair-Taylor, and I think it might become a tradition, but the cross-country team, Grace Mills, the head coach, came up with the idea of running the game ball from the opposing school, Independence, all the way to Blair-Taylor for the football game, and they arrived at 6:45 p.m.
Really?
And they ran onto the field right at that time as a team, and they handed the game ball to some of our football players, and it was really cool to see, and lots of applause. And our band was playing. They play at multiple home football games, multiple home basketball games. Sometimes, take a band for granted, and, I just wanted to give a shout out to the band as well for that pep.
Yeah, they're working hard, and that band, the bands really help, bring up the school spirit too.
Yeah,
so it's good to have them
makes
there.
the hair in the back of your neck stand up a little bit more, and it's extremely enjoyable. And it's not just a high school thing. The middle school got involved with the dress up days. Elementary got involved. Another thing worth noting that didn't take place during homecoming week, but as far as that elementary and building that community and having assemblies and creating hype, Jared McCutcheon, along with his team, they put together a really, really neat Student of the Month assembly.
Okay.
And basically it was the theme music to the Chicago Bulls when they introduced. And Mr. McCutcheon really got into it when he announced their names, and they had the spotlight going and everything. And lots of kids came home and they were talking to their parents about that experience, and lots of positive feedback from the parents and grandparents as well. So
that's great.
It's lots of fun stuff going on.
Yeah, homecoming, it's always that time, it brings the community together. It's community spirit, that school spirit is always a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And you guys, are you building a greenhouse, or did you get a greenhouse?
Actually, we've been looking at a greenhouse for actually a couple of years now. There's been a couple of options that have come forward that just didn't quite fit within the budget. And so go back to the drawing board. We'll go with option B. Doesn't quite fit in the budget. We finally came to option C, and it would be a 20-foot by 40-foot greenhouse.
Okay.
We do have an existing greenhouse, but there's a lot of mechanical issues with it, and it just doesn't function the way it's supposed to. And so what we're looking at doing is building this 20 by 40, and actually it was approved. It is going to happen.
Okay.
The nice part about it is that we've got a very generous community, and we've got what's called a special projects fund.
Yep.
And so it's coming from the special projects fund, so it doesn't have any impact on the local taxpayer.
Okay.
But it's going to be something that's needed within the ag department, and it's going to be a huge benefit to students, and it will also be a benefit to the community in the fact that they're going to do a lot of community outreach, such as like Easter lilies, mums.
Oh, wow.
And I'm assuming some spring garden vegetables that we could share with the community as well. So I know that Greta Munson is extremely excited about that, and we're looking to pour concrete here this fall yet.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be fun. I remember when I was in ag class in high school, that was one of the coolest things, was being able to plant your seeds, take them out there, take care of them, and then take them home, or, get stuff into the greenhouse. And I think it's a great experience for kids.
Yeah, and all kids, they need to know where their food comes from. And, not just talking about the ag department, but our food service department as well.
Yeah.
They have a fresh salad bar every single day. And, just having kids try new things. And there's radishes, there's onions, there's green peppers, tomatoes, so having a wide array within your palate is a good life skill as well.
No kidding.
And not turning your nose up at certain foods. And survival is not about chicken nuggets and hot dogs and pizza. So.
Yeah. All those other things are the things we should be eating more of and less of that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, October, I guess it's a busy month for school finance, and I know everyone's struggling with that a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on?
October's a busy month in the fact that on October 15th, the certification of the general aid comes out.
Okay.
There is a July 1 aid estimate. So schools get an estimate of what they're going to get, but it's not certified until October 15th.
Okay.
The importance of the certification is that compared to the estimate, compared to the actual on October 15th, I've only been the superintendent. This is going on 4 years, but I've seen that general aid fluctuate, a couple $100,000.
Okay.
So that has a high impact on how it impacts the local taxpayer. And the way that school finance works is it's certified in October, but you've got a revenue limit or a revenue cap.
Okay.
And so school districts are limited on how much money they can generate, either through general aid and local taxes are the two main ingredients that go into that. So if your general aid goes up, then the local taxpayer pays less.
Okay.
If general aid goes down, then the local taxpayer pays a little bit more. So in the end, if it goes up $100,000, that means that the mill rate could go down 20 cents.
Yeah.
So those are things that are outside of our control. But then that ties into our revenue limit worksheet, and that's what dictates what the mill rate is going to be. So it can be either exciting or depressing when you get that final number. If it went up or down. The downfall is that general aid across the state did not increase at all. So, for example, if our aid increases more than anticipated, our win is somebody else's loss.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and then we do have our budget hearing as well as our annual meeting. That's going to be on Monday, October 27th at 6:30.
Okay.
And so a lot going on there to dictate what happens financially within the district and what the mill rate will be and so forth.
Okay. And that brings us to our operational referendums too?
Yeah, our community has been extremely generous. 3 years ago, we passed an operational referendum, and we've been able to achieve all of the objectives within that operational referendum. But the downfall is that once you go into an operational referendum cycle, you're almost locked into it to an extent. We had 3 goals: to attract and retain staff, maintain course offerings, and to rebuild the fund balance. And we've been able to achieve all 3. But by increasing the fund balance, we've got cash flow. So in the end, what I'm hinting at is, in April we're gonna have to probably go back to the community and ask for a renewal of that operational referendum.
Okay.
The hope is that we can ask for a little bit less than what we did before, because we did achieve that goal of increasing that fund balance for cash flow.
Okay.
So, but in the end, that's a school board decision, and so depending upon what happens with the certification. We have a Baird model. We do some forecasting, but we always want to justify the why behind it.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of information that the board will be dissecting, and then I'll be communicating in the coming months with board approval.
Yeah. And people, if they want to know more, they could probably go to the board meetings and
yes, absolutely
stay involved that way. And I do hear that this week, the 5th through the 11th, is also School Board Appreciation Week.
Yeah, this one it's a big one. And Lindsay Byam was one of our school board members, and we went to WASB, which is the Wisconsin Association of School Boards regional meeting, and that was held at Onalaska Middle School last night. She took a night away from her family to attend this meeting with me. But one thing I learned there is that as far as public officials go, school board members are the largest group of public officials of anyone. In the end, if you've got 5 to 7 board members per district and you've got 421 districts, it's a lot of board members across just the state of Wisconsin.
Sure is.
But in the end, they do take on a lot of tough topics. And I know that in Blair-Taylor, I've told them this, and I think our community knows it, but that we've got a very, very good board in the fact that there is no egos. It's simply, it's about the kids and what's in the best interest of the kids. It's about financial responsibility. So they do a really good job of balancing all of that. And I think it's worth noting, Troy Tennyson is our board president, Perry Kuyak is our vice president, Michelle Steen is our secretary, David Thompson is our clerk, and then board members would be Neil Nisley, Lindsay Byam, and Blaine Coxline. And I just really appreciate them, and I appreciate all school board members. We also have our TVC 2.0 co-op, and so I've gotten to know other board members in the area. They're very intelligent, good people, and they put in a lot of time, and I just wanted to give them a shout out.
Yeah, because all these board members, I mean, they're taking time out of their lives to do this job too, and it's one of those things that the average person doesn't really want to do that job. So when the people get involved and do it, it's always good to say, hey, way to go, good job doing it.
And it's a lot of topics where you're never going to please everybody. So you got to use the preponderance of evidence to impact the majority in a positive way. But when you deal with the entire community, there's a lot of different personalities out there, and it's difficult to make everyone happy.
Yeah, yep. So, and that's why we have those school boards to make those tough decisions if you need to. And you got any upcoming events or sporting events or anything like that?
Some of the upcoming events that are very important would be our elementary parent-teacher conferences on October 14th and 16th. That would be next week, Tuesday and Thursday. They run from 3:30 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
And then we have middle high parent-teacher conferences next week, Wednesday, on October 15th, and that's 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. We were talking a little bit before we went on the air about, it's middle of October already.
Yeah, already.
Middle school basketball, middle school sports will be starting here really quickly, which is tough to believe. And, next month we'll be ramping up and probably touching base a little bit on basketball. And so there's that transition. That we have the change of seasons, you got the change of sports, and so in education, you never get bored.
Yeah.
So there's always something new around the corner, and kind of like the weather in Wisconsin. If you don't like the weather today, wait a week. Same thing in education. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I can't believe we're that far into the school year already. It must come with old age, I'm thinking.
And the older you get, faster time goes.
Yeah, it sure does. Well, is there anything else you want to cover before we go? We got a little more time. If you got anything else, maybe jump.
Our FFA, they had a leadership doings.
Okay.
And I can't remember the exact location, but, obviously our CTSOs are extremely busy, and FFA would be one of the busiest of them. I really promote, being involved in something somehow, some way. So take advantage of the opportunities, and I think that's about all I got for today.
All right. So. Well, that sounds great. And I know you've had a busy morning already to start with, so we should probably let you get back on your way to school.
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you, Brian.
All right. We've been talking with Lynn Halverson here this morning. We're going to get back into the music right after this break.
Here's a dose of reality. Driving under the influence of prescription painkillers is just as illegal and just as deadly as driving